Well, good morning. It's good to be with you again. I'm John Binns and I'm part of the church here at Chasetown and in Burntwood. I'm recording this on Monday, which is, according to my church calendar, Holy Cross Day. Now, I suspect Holy Cross Day might not be at the top of your list of days to remember, so maybe I can just tell you the story. Holy Cross Day goes back to about 325 AD, 300 years after the death of Christ. The Roman emperor, who's called Constantine, has just become converted to Christianity. And that's made a huge difference. Because instead of being a persecuted minority, the Christian faith is now the faith of the empire. And Constantine's mother, Helena, who's now very old, wants to go to Jerusalem to see the actual place where Jesus died on the cross and rose from the tomb. When she gets there, she discovers the city is not in a great state. It's been fought over and buildings have fallen down. But she asks the local people where it was that Jesus died. And they remember and they take her to what's really just a rubbish tip just outside the city walls. They show her the place where the cross stood. Then she digs, or gets her workmen to dig, and she discovers there 3 crosses, one of which, according to the stories, has a great power to heal anyone who touches it. And so she's full of joy and excitement. She's discovered the cross on which Jesus hung when he died for the sins of the world. And she builds a church, which a few years later is dedicated and services begin. That's actually the date that we remember on Holy Cross Day. And it's been a centre for Christians ever since then. Countless pilgrims have gone to Jerusalem and they've worshipped at that church which Helena built, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I remember when I went to Jerusalem, it was a high point for me. It was evening, just as the sun was setting. The church was still open, it was empty. It suddenly dawned on me as I stood there in this empty church, I was standing in the place where the cross of Christ stood, and Christ had died for me those many centuries ago. However, of course, the good news of Christianity is that we don't have to go to Jerusalem to make that discovery. Because Christ comes to us, bring the love of God wherever we are, whatever place, whatever time, whatever condition we're in. And he comes to us here. So let's fast forward a few centuries to Chasetown today, 2020. One of the joys of the last few weeks has been beginning to worship again. Not just worship, but to have the communion service, to share the Eucharist together. Because that's always been a key part of the church's worship. Right back to that time in the upper room where Jesus, with his disciples, Jesus took the bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to them. And they shared with him in that supper together. And ever since then, we in the church have done the same thing. We too have taken the bread, blessed it, broken it, shared it, remembering the words of Jesus when he did just that in Jerusalem those centuries ago. And so through that bread, we kind of build a relationship. It makes our faith a bit more than something that we think or believe or do or rules we obey. It's a relationship which draws us into sharing with the disciples, sharing with Christ. It's like we become a part of the story ourselves, as it establishes through that bread and wine a relationship that goes right back to those early days. And so for us, that can be too the moment when we realize for ourselves the wonder of God's love shown on the cross. and we can know for ourselves, and we can be changed. We can receive God's love and we can give it. So today, let's give thanks once again for the way in which Christ comes to us, how he came on the cross and continues to come in the bread and wine, and comes to us, drawing us into a real, living relationship with Christ. Amen.